Welcome back. We're very happy to have you with us. We are going to continue our reflections now for the 7th week in Ordinary Time. That's right?
Yes.
They go in order, I know, but I always lose track because I start doing the articles and everything. So Jen is going to read from Luke's Gospel, right?
Yes.
From the 7th week in Ordinary Time.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Jesus said to his disciples, "To you who hear, I say, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, pray for those who mistreat you. To the person who strikes you on one cheek, offer the other one as well. And from the person who takes your cloak, do not withhold even your tunic. Give to everyone who asks of you, and from the one who takes what is yours, do not demand it back. Do to others as you would have them do to you. For if you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners love those who love them. And if you do good to those who do good to you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners do the same. If you lend money to those whom you expect repayment, what credit is that to you? Even sinners lend to sinners and get back the same amount. But rather, love your enemies and do good to them, and lend expecting nothing back. Then your reward will be great, and you will be children of the Most High, for he himself is kind to the ungrateful and the wicked. Be merciful, just as your Father is merciful." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. So whenever you say to somebody or remind them, even something as wonderful as of the Great Commandment, that we love one another as I have loved you, or the combination of that, love God with your whole heart and love your neighbor as yourself. Well, even that is hard for people. Even that, we love to say, love one another as I have loved you, but you don't have to love this person. We love to kind of, not that we intend it always, but we always find a way to get out of loving. And you would think that the enemies would be something we'd be allowed to get out of. If this person did this to me, so I'm not going to do this to love them in return. And I think whenever this reading comes up, or whenever you in conversation bring this reading up with people, I always get the sense that the other person sometimes is like this, whistling and looking around the room, like, oh my God, no, because there's so much here we really like to avoid. We get it in our heads, we think about it, and certainly there are reasons why some of our relationships are difficult, and some of them are not any of our faults. They have to do with fault in general, that there's rifts between us, there's problems. We bump into people, and as benign as accidentally bumping into somebody is, it's a metaphor for when we really slam into people and have problems, that for no really good reason other than we ran into each other on the street, now we're enemies. And of course, sometimes we have very good reasons for being enemies with people too. Sometimes our enemies are in our own families, in our own workplaces. Sometimes it's very challenging, and it splits up families and makes life difficult for us. But this reading can't be ignored. It has to be something that we're constantly thinking about in our life together. There might be a howler monkey in the hallway, but we don't know what that was. So, but it's something that we really constantly have to put our hearts and our minds to in prayer. Is, God, give me the grace that I might really love also my enemies, also strangers, also all of those people that maybe I've decided I don't agree with, or whose lifestyle I don't agree with, or something like that. In our life together as Christian people, we might accurately say, I don't believe in this kind of behavior or practice. I'm against this. But as soon as that translates in our life to hatred and dismissal and judgment, we're not really Christian anymore. We have to wrestle with this in the right way, which means, God, help me to love better every day of my life, especially those most in need, the alienated, and even those with whom I have great disagreements and differences. Very challenging, impossible without the help of God, but at the center of his teaching. We also have this idea that if you love only the people who love you in return, what virtue do you have? You know, what virtue do you have? Give to those who have no ability to repay you back. Lend without it. If someone slaps you on one cheek, turn and offer the second. These are practices that Jesus Christ has taught us to give us some way of living that is not that transcends only what is expected of us in human terms. It's really a wonderful, wonderful teaching of the church, and like I said, we kind of go like this whenever we are reminded that we're supposed to be living like that, and very challenging to do. So also we would say this too: someone slapping, people on one cheek and offering the other, it does not mean we don't recognize, or it doesn't mean that them slapping you is okay. What it means is be very prudent in judgment. We might say to somebody in our life, hey, this situation, we might receive a metaphorical or a literal slap and then go like this and offer the other cheek, and then hopefully enter into some way of discussing it and saying it wasn't right. Maybe there's a way of dealing with it. What we don't want to do is follow this teaching to the point where no one wants you beat up constantly, turning your cheek all the time and letting them slap you. Sometimes things are wrong, and we have to say, you know what, you did slap my cheek. That wasn't right. I offered you the other. And the hope is that when you offer the other, they go, this isn't right. This isn't really right anymore. What I'm doing is not right. And it's that willingness to take that, in that sense, that points out much more clearly the right and the right and the wrong. If Jesus thought, okay, when you get slapped on one cheek, smack them in the the mouth yourself. What is that going to accomplish? But if someone were actually to go like this to you when you slap them on the cheek, you might go, whoa, I might have crossed a line. And I say that, metaphorically, of course, too. That our differences with one another and our ability to follow this teaching does not mean that you're a victim constantly. We're always working for what is just and right. Always. But never at the expense of holiness, never at the expense of your own earthly victory. The victory we seek is one that is heavenly. We pour ourselves out for the other. And sometimes we pour ourselves out even for those people whom we don't even know, and maybe those people whom we don't even agree with or like us in return. No more difficult thing in the gospel probably than this teaching. And yet it is a teaching of Jesus Christ, and it is one we're to follow. So as you deal with the world as the way it is, the challenges, you see the differences and the divisions, do not become agents of it. Take this teaching of Jesus Christ to heart rather instead. How's that? I know that was redundant. Amy's the English teacher, and she's looking at me. Instead or rather? Okay, this is good. But anyway, so have a wonderful week, and we will see you for the 8th week in Ordinary Time.